Admiral Kang Dae-ho stared at the message on his screen. His weathered face showed no emotion, but his hands gripped the desk harder than before. The words were simple and clear. Earth has 72 hours to surrender all outer colonies. Refuse, and we will burn every human world to ash. The message came from the Valerian hegemony. They were one of the oldest and strongest alien races in the galaxy. For 200 years, they had watched humans spread across the stars. For 200 years, they had grown more angry about it. Kang read the message again. Behind him, his office window showed the busy space traffic around Earth's orbital stations. Ships moved like tiny lights against the black of space. Most were cargo vessels bringing food and materials from the colonies. Soon those ships might stop coming forever. "Sir?" Captain Lee Bo-young stood in the doorway. She was young for her rank, maybe 35, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "The council meeting is in 10 minutes. Kang nodded. He had been expecting this day for years, maybe his whole life. "Have you seen the latest reports from the outer colonies?" Bo-young's face darkened. "3 worlds gone, sir. New Shanghai, Terra Verde, and Hope Station. The Valerians didn't even give warnings, they just ended them." The words hit Kang like physical blows. New Shanghai had 2 million people. Terra Verde was mostly farmers and their families. Hope Station was where young couples went to start new lives. All gone now, turned to burning rock and metal by Valerian weapons. "The other council races?" Kang asked. "Silent, sir. The Centauri Republic says this is not their concern. The Andromedan Alliance claims they need more time to study the situation. The Zeta Collective has not answered our calls at all." Kang was not surprised. Earth was still the new race in galactic politics. Humans had only been part of the Galactic Council for 2 centuries. To aliens who lived for thousands of years, that was like yesterday. They saw humans as young and weak. Something to be managed, not protected. The walk to the council chamber took 10 minutes. Kang moved through the corridors of Earth Defense Headquarters with steady steps. Other officers saluted as he passed. Most had fear in their eyes. They had all seen the reports. They knew what Valerian weapons could do to planets. Dr. Park Soo-jin was waiting outside the council chamber. She was tall and thin, with gray hair pulled back in a simple style. Her lab coat was wrinkled like she had been working all night. She probably had been. "Admiral," she said, "I need to speak with you before the meeting." "The Titan Protocol?" Kang asked quietly. Her eyes went wide. Very few people knew that name. "Yes, sir, it's ready. But sir, I have to tell you again, we don't know everything about what it might do. The tests were all computer simulations. We've never actually fired it." Kang studied her face. Park Soo-jin was the smartest person he had ever met. She had designed weapons that could crack moons in half. But she was also the most worried about using them. "Doctor, how many people lived on New Shanghai?" 2.1 million, sir. And Terra Verde? 800,000. Hope Station. Park's voice got smaller. 50,000, mostly young families. Kang put a hand on her shoulder. "Those people trusted us to protect them. They moved to those worlds because Earth told them it was safe. Now they're dead because we couldn't stop the Valerians." "I know, sir. But if we use the protocol, we might become something worse than them." The council chamber doors opened. Ambassador Kim Tae-woo stepped out, his face grave. He was Earth's voice in galactic politics, a man who had spent decades trying to build friendships with alien races. Today he looked like those decades had been wasted. "Admiral," Kim said, "they're waiting for our answer." Inside the chamber, holographic images of alien leaders floated above the main table. The Valerian representative was a creature that looked like a walking tree with too many eyes. Its voice sounded like grinding metal. "Human Admiral," it said. "Your time grows short. Surrender your colonies now and your homeworld will be spared. Refuse and share their fate." Around the table, other alien representatives watched silently. Some looked uncomfortable. Others seemed bored. None offered to help. Kang stepped forward. "The colonies you destroyed had families, children, people who had never hurt anyone. They were human, the Valerian said. That was enough. Why? Kang asked. What did we do to earn this hatred? The alien's eyes focused on him. You spread too fast. You claim too many worlds. You act like you belong in our galaxy, but you are new here, little admiral, new and weak. It is time you learned your place. Kim tried to speak. Perhaps we could negotiate some kind of agreement. No. The Valerian's voice was final. Surrender, or burn. You have 60 hours remaining. The holograms faded out. The chamber fell quiet. Kang looked around the table at the empty spaces where alien allies should have been. Earth stood alone. Sir? Bo-Young asked. What are our orders? Kang was quiet for a long moment. He thought about the families on the dead colonies. He thought about the children who would never grow up. He thought about the message Earth would send to the galaxy if it surrendered now. Contact General Yoon-Hae-ri, he said finally. Tell her to begin Phase 1 of the Titan Protocol. Park Soo-jin went pale. Admiral, please, let's think about this more. Maybe there's another way. Doctor, Kang said gently. For 150 years we've been building something in the dark, something we hoped we would never need to use. The Valerians have made that choice for us. He turned to Kim. Ambassador, send our response to the Valerian hegemony. Tell them Earth respectfully declines their offer. Kim blinked. Sir, they'll attack Earth directly. Our fleet can't stop them. Our fleet can't, Kang agreed, but maybe something else can. Bo-Young frowned. Sir, what's the Titan Protocol? Kang looked out the chamber's great window. Somewhere beyond the outer planets, in the dark between worlds, something was stirring. Something humanity had built in secret while the galaxy watched and laughed at the weak new race. Captain, he said, it's our answer to the question of what happens when someone tries to destroy everything we've built. Park Soo-jin was reading something on her tablet. Her hands shook slightly. The construction teams report they're ready. Admiral, all systems show green. They're asking for final authorization codes. Kang pulled out a small device from his pocket. It looked like a simple communicator, but Park recognized it immediately. She had helped design it years ago. It was the key that would wake up humanity's greatest secret. 150 years, Kang said quietly. 150 years of work, building in the shadows while everyone thought we were just farmers and merchants spreading across the galaxy. He pressed his thumb to the device. It beeped once and showed a single word. Authorized. Far beyond Pluto, in a construction facility that had never appeared on any star chart, ancient machines began to hum with power. Something vast began to move in the darkness. Something that would change everything. Kang looked at the faces around him. Fear, hope, and determination mixed together. Send the message to all human colonies, all Earth ships, all our people everywhere. Tell them to prepare for Phase 2. What's Phase 2, sir? Bo-Young asked. Kang's face was hard as stone. Phase 2, Captain, is when the galaxy learns what happens when you mistake human patience for human weakness. The chamber fell silent, except for the soft hum of computers and the distant sound of ships moving through space. Outside, Earth continued its slow turn toward night. But somewhere in the darkness beyond the solar system, something was waking up. Something the Valerians had never imagined in their worst dreams. The countdown had begun. Admiral Kang Dae-ho stood on the bridge of the Ragnarok and felt small. The ship's command center was larger than most space stations. Screens covered every wall, showing views from thousands of cameras placed across the vessel's 50-kilometer. The crew worked at stations spread across multiple levels, their voices creating a low buzz of activity. Jump complete, Admiral, reported Commander Cho Min-ho, the ship's tactical officer. He was a thin man with cold eyes who had spent 20 years studying Valerian military tactics. We've arrived at the Kepler 442 system, exactly on target. Through the main viewing screen, Kang could see the Valerian fleet waiting for them, 3,000 ships arranged in perfect battle formations, their hulls gleaming with weapons and armor. At the center floated 5 massive world-breaker dreadnoughts, each one capable of destroying planets. They knew we were coming, Kang said. Yes, sir, replied Captain Shin Ara, the ship's intelligence officer. We're intercepting their communications. They've been tracking our approach for the last 2 hours. On the screen, text appeared, showing translated Valerian messages. Human ship. Confirmed. Massive energy readings. Caution advised. All units maintain formation. Prepare to engage. This is Admiral Zethkala. The human ship is large, but size means nothing. Destroy it. Kang studied the enemy fleet. Each Valerian ship was beautiful, in its own deadly way, built like works of art that happened to carry planet-killing weapons. Together, they represented the military might of one of the galaxy's oldest civilizations. Sir, Cho said, they're moving to surround us, classic encirclement pattern. Let them come, Kang replied. Captain Shin, what's the status of our escort? Fleet? Captain Lee's ships are holding position behind us, sir. 18 ships total. The Valerians haven't targeted them yet. Kang nodded. The escort fleet was brave, but completely outmatched. 18 human ships against 3,000 Valerian warships was not a battle. It was suicide. But they had volunteered anyway, because that's what humans did when their people were threatened. Admiral, called out Lieutenant Nam from the communications station. We're receiving a transmission from the Valerian flagship. Put it through. The main screen changed to show a Valerian admiral. The alien looked like a cross between a tree and a spider, with bark-like skin and multiple eyes. When it spoke, its voice sounded like grinding stone. Human Admiral, I am Zeth Kala, Supreme Commander of the Valerian Hegemony's 4th Battle Fleet. Your ship is impressive, but you are outnumbered beyond any hope of victory. Surrender now, and your death will be quick. Kang stepped forward. Admiral Zeth Kala, you have destroyed 3 human colonies without warning. You have murdered millions of innocent people. We are here to make sure that never happens again. The Valerian's multiple eyes focused on him. You bring 1 ship against 3,000. Even humans cannot be this foolish. Perhaps, Kang said calmly, but we're about to find out. He turned to Cho. Commander, target their mining world. Kepler 442c. Cho's fingers moved across his controls. Sir, that planet has no military value. It's just a mining operation. Exactly. No civilians, minimal defenses, but enough Valerian infrastructure to make our point. On the tactical display, Kepler 442c appeared. It was a dead rock of a world covered with mining equipment and processing facilities. About 10,000 Valerian workers lived there, all military personnel supporting the mining operation. Sir, Shin reported, the Valerians are demanding to know what we're doing there. They sound confused. Kang wasn't surprised. The Valerians expected humans to either surrender or charge straight at their fleet. They didn't understand why the Ragnarok was pointing its weapons at an empty mining world. Admiral, Cho said, main weapon is charged and ready. Target locked. Kang looked around the bridge. Every officer was watching him. They all knew what they were about to do. They were about to cross a line that could never be uncrossed. Fire, he said quietly. The Ragnarok's primary weapon was not like other ship guns. It didn't shoot energy, beams, or explosive missiles. Instead, it fired something much more dangerous, gravity itself. A pulse of twisted space-time shot out from the ship's main array. It traveled at the speed of light, invisible except for the way it bent starlight. Around it, when it hit Kepler 442c, it passed through the planet's crust like it wasn't there. But when the pulse reached the planet's core, everything changed. Impact confirmed, Cho reported. The gravity pulse has destabilized the planet's nuclear structure. On the screen, Kepler 442c began to shake. At first, it looked like a normal earthquake. Then the shaking got worse. Mountains collapsed. Oceans boiled away into space. The planet's surface cracked open like a broken egg. Sir, Shin called out, the Valerians are panicking. They're trying to evacuate the mining stations. It was too late. The planet's core began to collapse in on itself, crushed by artificial gravity 1,000,000 times stronger than normal. The collapse created a chain reaction that turned the entire world into a temporary black hole. Kepler 442c simply stopped existing. Where a planet had been moments before, there was now a swirling void of darkness. The gravitational pull was so strong that light itself couldn't escape. 3 nearby Valerian ships, caught by surprise, were dragged into the black hole and crushed into nothing. The temporary black hole lasted for exactly 37 seconds. Then it collapsed, releasing all the planet's mass as pure energy. The explosion lit up the entire star system like a second sun. When the light faded, there was nothing left where Kepler 442c had been. Not even debris. The Valerian fleet had gone, completely silent. "Communications, Admiral," Shin reported. "The Valerians they're trying to understand what just happened." Kang could see the confusion in the enemy formations. Ships that had been moving to attack positions were now drifting aimlessly. The perfect military order of minutes before had dissolved into chaos. "Put me through to Admiral Zethkala," Kang said. The Valerian's face appeared on screen again. But now its multiple eyes showed something that had never been there before. Fear. "What did you do?" Zethkala whispered. "What weapon was that?" "That was a demonstration," Kang replied. "You wanted to know what one human ship could do against 3,000 Valerian ships. Now you know." "Impossible. No race has weapons that can destroy planets so easily." "No race that you know of," Kang corrected. "Admiral, you have 60 seconds to withdraw your fleet from human space. All of it. Every ship, every station, every probe." Zethkala's bark-like skin had gone pale. "You cannot threaten the entire hegemony with one ship." "Commander Cho," Kang said without looking away from the screen. "Target their flagship." "Sir," Cho replied. "Main weapon charging. Target locked on Valerian command vessel." The alien admiral's eyes went wide. Around his flagship, the other Valerian ships began backing away. No one wanted to be close to the target of a weapon that could erase planets. "Wait," Zethkala said quickly. Perhaps we can negotiate." "There's nothing to negotiate," Kang said. "You have 50 seconds to begin your withdrawal. The hegemony will not forget this insult. We will return with larger fleets. We will—" "Commander," Kang interrupted. "Fire a warning shot. Target the space directly in front of their flagship." Another gravity pulse shot out from the Ragnarok. This one was much smaller, but when it hit the empty space near the Valerian flagship, reality itself seemed to ripple. The fabric of space-time bent and twisted, creating visual distortions that hurt to look at. Several Valerian ships near the distortion were thrown off course by the gravitational waves. One smaller vessel was caught in the effect and crumpled, like paper, its hull unable to withstand the twisted gravity. 30 seconds, Admiral," Kang said calmly. Zethkala was no longer trying to look brave. "All ships," he broadcast to his fleet. "Begin withdrawal to rally point 7. Full retreat. Repeat, full retreat." The Valerian fleet began to move. Slowly at first, then faster as panic spread through their ranks. Ships that had been ready to destroy Earth were now racing to get away from the human vessel that could erase worlds. "Sir," Shin reported, "long-range sensors show Valerian fleets throughout the region are also withdrawing. Word is spreading fast." Kang nodded. "Good. Let every Valerian ship in the galaxy know what had happened here. Let them understand that humanity's patience had limits." "Admiral," Commander Cho said, "we're receiving priority messages from Earth, and from all over the galaxy. Everyone wants to know what just happened." Through the viewing screen, Kang could see the last Valerian ships disappearing into hyperspace. The system was clear. Humanity had won its first victory with the Ragnarok. But as he looked at the empty space where a planet had existed, Kang wondered if they had also lost something important. The weapon they had built was more powerful than anyone had imagined. With it, they could force peace on the galaxy. The question was, what would that peace cost? "Set course for Earth," Kang ordered. "We have a lot of explaining to do." As the Ragnarok began its journey home, messages poured in from across the galaxy. Some were congratulations. Others were demands for explanations. Many were simply expressions of fear from races that had suddenly realized humanity was not what they had seemed. The galaxy had changed, and there was no going back. General Yoon Hai-ri stood in the command center of Station Prometheus, hidden deep in the asteroid belt beyond Pluto. For 40 years, she had overseen the construction of humanity's greatest secret. Today, she would finally see it wake up. "All teams report ready, General," said Chief Engineer Nam Ki-woong. His voice was steady, but sweat covered his forehead. "The Ragnarok systems are coming online." Through the massive viewing window, Hai-ri could see it. The ship was so large it seemed impossible. 50 kilometers of dark metal and hidden weapons built piece by piece over 15 decades. The Ragnarok floated in space like a sleeping giant, its surface covered with lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. "How long until it's fully powered?" Hai-ri asked. 6 hours, General. "The black hole reactors need time to stabilize. We can't rush this part." Hai-ri nodded. The ship's power source was humanity's greatest achievement and greatest risk. 3 artificial black holes, each the size of a marble, held inside perfect magnetic bottles. They provided energy that could power entire star systems. They could also destroy everything if something went wrong. "Ma'am," called Lieutenant Park from the communication station. "We're getting messages from all over the galaxy. Everyone's picking up the energy readings." "Show me," Hai-ri said. The main screen filled with intercepted alien communications. Most were in languages she couldn't understand, but the computer translations appeared as text. "Unknown energy source detected in Sol system. Massive gravitational disturbance. Readings are impossible. What are the humans doing?" "The Centauri Republic is asking Earth for an explanation," Park reported. "The Andromedan Alliance is moving ships toward our border. The Zeta Collective has gone to full alert status." Nam Ki-woong looked up from his controls. "General, we're also detecting Valerian fleet movements. They're sending everything they have toward Earth." "How many ships?" "Over 3,000, ma'am, including their world-breaker dreadnoughts." Hai-ri felt a chill. Valerian world-breakers were ships designed to crack planets open like eggs. Each one could destroy entire fleets. They were bringing enough firepower to turn Earth into dust. "Time until the Valerian fleet reaches Earth?" 18 hours, General. "And time until Ragnarok is ready to move?" Nam checked his readings again. 14 hours for basic systems. Full combat readiness in 20 hours. "That's cutting it very close," Hai-ri said. Captain Lee Bo-young's voice came over the communication system from Earth. "General Yoon, this is Captain Lee. Admiral Kang wants a status report." "Captain, tell the Admiral that his big stick is almost ready to swing." There was a pause. "General, we're getting reports from our intelligence network. The Valerian fleet isn't just heading for Earth, they're planning to glass every human colony on the way. They want to make an example of us." Hai-ri's hands clenched into fists. "How many colonies are in their path?" 17, ma'am, including New Geneva and Port Victoria. That's over 10 million people." The command center fell silent. Everyone knew what this meant. The Valerians weren't just coming to conquer, they were coming to commit genocide. "General," Nam said quietly, "we could push the power systems harder. Bring the ship online in 10 hours instead of 14. "What's the risk?" "If the magnetic bottles fail, the black holes will eat the ship, and probably the asteroid belt, and maybe Mars." Hai-ri stared at the Ragnarok. Humanity's greatest weapon could also be its greatest disaster, but 10 million people were going to die if they didn't act. "Do it," she said. "Begin emergency power-up. Sequence." Nam nodded and began entering commands. Around the command center, warning lights started flashing. "All stations, this is Chief Engineer Nam. We are beginning emergency power protocols. All non-essential personnel to safe areas." Through the viewing window, the Ragnarok began to change. The pulse of lights along its hull grew faster. Parts of the ship that had been dark for decades started glowing with strange energy. The space around it began to bend and twist as gravity itself responded to the awakening black holes. "Ma'am," called the sensor operator, "we're picking up new signals. Someone else is watching us." "Who?" "Multiple sources, General. The hegemony has spy drones throughout this system. But there are others too. Ships from races we've never seen before. Everyone wants to know what we're building out. Here. Hyrie wasn't surprised. Humanity had tried to keep the Ragnarok secret, but hiding something this large was almost impossible. The energy readings alone would be visible from hundreds of light years away. General, Nam called out. We have a problem. The power surge is affecting nearby asteroids. The gravitational fields are pulling them toward the ship. On the screen, Hyrie could see chunks of rock and ice being drawn toward the Ragnarok like metal to a magnet. Most were small, but some were the size of buildings. Will they damage the ship? No, ma'am. The hull can handle asteroid impacts, but the debris field will make it hard for escort ships to approach. How many escort ships do we have ready? Captain Lee is bringing 12 destroyers and 6 cruisers. It's not much against 3,000 Valerian ships, but they'll provide cover during the jump to hyperspace. Hyrie nodded. The escort fleet was small, but they weren't meant to fight the Valerian army. Their job was to protect the Ragnarok until it could reach the battle zone. After that, the giant ship would fight alone. General, the communications officer called out. Admiral Kang is requesting a direct link. Kang's face appeared on the main screen. Behind him, Hyrie could see the busy command center on Earth. General, what's your status? 8 hours until we can move, Admiral. The ship is stable, but we're pushing the systems hard. The Valerians have accelerated their schedule, Kang said. They'll reach the first human colony in 15 hours. We need you there in 12. Sir, that means jumping to hyperspace before all systems are fully tested. I know. Can the ship handle it? Hyrie looked at Nam, who was studying his screens with worried eyes. He caught her look and shook his head slightly. Admiral, Hyrie said, Chief Engineer Nam says it's risky. How? Risky? Nam spoke up. Sir, the hyperspace generators have never been tested with active black hole reactors. The gravitational fields might interfere with the jump. We could end up scattered across several star systems. Or the jump could work perfectly and we arrive exactly where we want to be. Kang was quiet for a moment. General, I'm looking at intelligence reports right now. The Valerians are broadcasting their plans across their entire empire. They want everyone to watch as they destroy humanity. They think it will make other races more obedient. Hyrie felt anger burning in her chest. Sir, what are your orders? Make the jump in 8 hours, whatever the risks. The connection ended. Hyrie turned to face her team. These were people who had worked their entire careers on this project. Engineers, scientists, and military officers who had sacrificed everything to build humanity's ultimate weapon. You heard the Admiral, she said. 8 hours to hyperspace jump. I won't lie to you. This is dangerous. The ship might not survive. We might not survive. But if we don't try, 10 million people will die. Nam stood up from his station. General, I volunteer to stay aboard the Ragnarok during the jump. If something goes wrong with the black hole reactors, I might be able to fix it. I'm staying too, said Lieutenant Park. Someone needs to monitor communications. One by one, other officers volunteered. Soon, Hyrie realized that no one planned to leave the ship. They would all ride humanity's greatest weapon into battle. General, Nam reported, the ship is responding well to the power increase. All major systems are stable. We might actually pull this off. Through the viewing window, the Ragnarok no longer looked like a sleeping giant. Energy flowed across its hull like lightning. Weapons that had never been fired began extending from hidden bays. The space around the ship bent and twisted as reality itself struggled to contain the forces within. Ma'am, the sensor operator called out. We're detecting massive hyperspace signatures, multiple fleets jumping into this system. Valerian? No, ma'am. These are from all over the galaxy. Word is spreading. Everyone wants to see what humanity has built. Hyrie smiled grimly. Good. Let them watch. Let them see what happened when someone tried to destroy the human race. The galaxy had ignored Earth's calls for help. Now they would witness the consequences of that choice. General, Nam announced. 6 hours until jump readiness. All systems continue to show green. And the escort fleet? Captain Lee reports her ships are in position and ready to jump with us. Hyrie looked at the Ragnarok one last time as a sleeping ship. In 6 hours, it would wake up completely. The galaxy would learn that humanity had not spent 2 centuries just farming and trading. They had been preparing for war. All stations, she announced, begin final pre-jump preparations. Today, we show the universe what human patience and human anger can build together. 6 months had passed since the day humanity showed its true strength to the galaxy. Fleet Admiral Kang Dae-ho stood on the observation deck of the Ragnarok, watching 3 more massive ships take their positions in formation. The Mjolnir, the Excalibur, and the Durandal hung in space like dark monuments to human determination. "All 4 ships report ready for patrol duty, Admiral," said Director Park Soo-jin, joining him at the viewing window. Her hair had gone completely white in the past months, but her eyes were sharper than ever. She now headed the Department of Planetary Defense Ethics, making sure humanity's terrible weapons were never used without careful consideration. "How does it feel, Doctor?" Kang asked. "Knowing that you've changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever?" Park was quiet for a moment. "Terrifying and necessary at the same time. We've given humanity the power to destroy worlds. I just pray we never have to use it again." Through the communication system, they could hear reports from across human space. The changes had been dramatic and swift. Where once there had been 3 human colonies destroyed by alien aggression, now there were 12 new worlds under Earth's protection. 3 different species had asked for humanity's help against aggressive neighbors. "Admiral," came the voice of Secretary of Alien Relations Lee Bo-young from Earth, "we are receiving another request for mediation. The Altarian Commonwealth and the Rigelian Trade Consortium are having a border dispute. Both sides are asking Earth to help resolve it." Kang shook his head in amazement. 6 months ago, most of these races wouldn't return our diplomatic calls. Now they want us to solve their problems. "Power changes everything," Park replied. "The question is whether we're using that power the right way." The answer to that question could be seen throughout the galaxy. The Valerian hegemony, once the terror of a dozen star systems, had retreated to their home worlds and spoken of nothing but peace. Their former client states had either declared independence or sought protection from Earth. 3 major wars had ended when both sides realized that humanity might intervene to stop the fighting. "Sir," came another voice over the communication system. "This is Prime Minister Kim Tae-woo. I'm here with the Valerian ambassador. He has something to say." Kang was surprised. The Valerians had barely communicated with Earth since their fleet's retreat. "Put him through." The voice that came over the speakers was the same one that had threatened to destroy Earth 6 months ago. But now Admiral Zethkala sounded very different. "Fleet Admiral Kang," the Valerian said, "I come before you to formally apologize for the actions of the hegemony against human colonies. We acted in fear and anger. We were wrong." "Admiral Zethkala," Kang replied, "your apology is noted. What does the hegemony want now?" "We wish to offer reparations for the colonies we destroyed. New Shanghai, Terra Verde, and Hope Station will be rebuilt by Valerian workers, at no cost to humanity. We also offer to share our advanced agricultural technology to help feed the new populations." Kang looked at Park, who nodded slowly. It was more than they had ever expected from the proud Valerian civilization. "Your offer is acceptable," Kang said. "But understand this. If the hegemony ever again attacks innocent civilians, there will be consequences. We understand, Admiral. The hegemony has learned to value peace above conquest." After the communication ended, Kang walked to his command center, where displays showed the current status of human space. Green dots marked friendly systems. Yellow showed neutral territories. Red indicated potential threats. The map had changed dramatically. Most of the red dots had turned yellow or green. The few remaining threats were small and distant. For the first time in centuries, human colonies could expand without fear of alien attack. "Admiral," reported Commander Cho Min-ho, "long-range sensors are picking up a massive fleet movement in the Andromeda sector. The hegemony remnant is mobilizing everything they have." Kang felt a familiar tension. "Are they targeting human space?" "No, sir. They're moving to defend their own territory. Intelligence suggests they're afraid we might attack them." "Sir, added Captain Shin Era. We're also detecting 3 other civilizations building up their military forces. Everyone's either trying to match our capabilities or making sure they can defend themselves if we ever turn aggressive. Kang understood. Humanity had solved one problem by creating another. The galaxy was peaceful because everyone was afraid of Earth's weapons. But that fear also meant that every civilization was preparing for the possibility of war with humanity. "Admiral," came a voice from Earth, "this is President Oh Young-suk. We need to discuss the Galactic Peace Accords." The Peace Accords were humanity's attempt to create a new system of galactic law, instead of the old council, where stronger races bullied weaker ones. Earth proposed a system where all civilizations had equal rights. Planets could not be destroyed. Entire species could not be enslaved. Genocide would bring immediate retaliation. "How many signatures do we have, Madam President?" Kang asked. 43 civilizations have signed. Another 20 are considering it. But some of the older races are resisting. They don't want to give up their traditional privileges. Kang wasn't surprised. Races that had dominated the galaxy for thousands of years would not easily accept a new order imposed by humanity. "Sir," reported his communications officer, "we're receiving a priority message from the outer colonies. It's from New Shanghai." Kang smiled. New Shanghai was the first colony that the Valerians had destroyed. Now it was being rebuilt by the same species that had once turned it to ash. "Admiral Kang," came the voice of the colony administrator. "This is remarkable. The Valerians aren't just rebuilding our cities, they're making them better than before. New farming systems, improved life support, advanced manufacturing centers. They're giving us technology we never dreamed of having." "They're trying to make amends," Kang replied. "Guilt can be a powerful motivator." Park looked up from her tablet where she had been reading reports from across the galaxy. "Admiral, I'm seeing similar patterns everywhere. Civilizations that used to ignore us are now offering to share their best technology. They want to stay on our good side." "The benefits of being feared," Kang said, though he didn't sound entirely happy about it. "Sir," his intelligence officer reported, "we're also getting some interesting data from our deep space monitoring network. Several races are building defensive installations along their borders. They're not planning to attack us, but they want to make sure we know they can fight back if necessary." Kang nodded. It was smart strategy. Show strength to deter aggression, but don't appear threatening enough to provoke a first strike. "Admiral," came another voice from Earth, "this is Dr. Chen Wei-Ming from the Diplomatic Corps. We've been analyzing the long-term effects of our actions. The results are complex." "Explain, Doctor." "On the positive side, major interstellar wars have dropped by 90%. Genocide has essentially stopped. Weaker civilizations feel protected for the first time in millennia. But on the negative side, military spending across the galaxy has increased by 300%. Everyone's building weapons and defenses just in case." Kang understood the dilemma. Humanity had brought peace to the galaxy by making everyone afraid to fight. But fear-based peace was fragile. If Earth ever appeared weak or distracted, the old patterns of aggression might return. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we're receiving a request for intervention. The Centauri Republic and the Tau Ceti Federation are having a territorial dispute. Both sides are asking us to mediate." "How serious is the dispute?" "Not very, sir. It's about mining rights to an asteroid belt. In the old days, they probably would have fought a small war over it. Now they're asking us to help them negotiate." Kang made his decision. "Send Captain Lee's diplomatic squadron. Have them work out a fair compromise." It was the 15th such request in the past month. Earth had become the galaxy's arbitrator, the final authority that settled disputes between other civilizations. It was a role that came with great responsibility and great danger. "Admiral," Park said quietly, "do you think we did the right thing, building these weapons, using them to change the galaxy?" Kang looked out at the stars, thinking of all the worlds that were now safe from destruction. "Doctor, 3 million people died in those Valerian attacks. How many more would have died if we had done nothing? And how many might die in the future because we've made the galaxy afraid of us?" It was a question that kept Kang awake at night. Humanity had the power to destroy worlds, But with that power came the responsibility to use it wisely. Every decision Earth made now affected billions of lives across hundreds of star systems. "Admiral," came a voice from the communications station, "we're receiving a message from a previously unknown civilization, the Epsilon Eridani Collective. They're requesting permission to enter human space for diplomatic talks." "Another one?" Kang asked. "Yes, sir. That makes 27 civilizations that have made first contact with us since the Kepler incident. Everyone wants to know where Earth stands." Kang looked at the tactical display, where green dots showed the positions of humanity's 4 planet-killer ships. The Ragnarok patrolled the border with former Valerian space. The Mjolnir guarded the core worlds. The Excalibur watched the outer colonies. Ambassador Kim Tae-woo had been in many difficult meetings during his 30 years of galactic diplomacy, but he had never walked into a room where every alien representative looked at him with a mixture of fear and anger. The emergency session of the Galactic Council felt more like a trial than a diplomatic gathering. "Ambassador Kim," said Chancellor Vextar of the Centauri Republic, his blue skin even paler than usual, "explain what your species has done." Kim remained calm, though his heart was racing. Around the circular chamber, holographic projections showed representatives from dozens of alien civilizations. All of them had been watching when humanity erased a planet from existence. "Honored council members," Kim began, "Earth acted in self-defense. The Valerian hegemony destroyed 3 of our colonies without warning, killing over 3 million innocent people. They threatened to do the same to Earth itself. By deploying a weapon that can destroy worlds." The voice belonged to Matriarch Cycla of the Andromedan Alliance. Her tentacles writhed with agitation. "Do you understand what you have unleashed?" "We understand perfectly," Kim replied. "We built a deterrent, something to make sure that no one would ever again try to commit genocide against humanity." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Representatives shouted in dozens of languages, their translation devices struggling to keep up. Kim stood quietly in the center of the chaos, waiting for order to return. Meanwhile, on Earth, President Oh Young-suk was dealing with her own crisis. The planetary government building was surrounded by crowds of both protesters and supporters. Some humans thought the use of the planet killer was necessary. Others believed it made humanity into monsters. "Madam President," said her chief of staff, "we're getting calls from every major government on Earth. They want to know if we're planning to use the weapon again." Oh looked out her office window at the crowds below. "What's the mood on the colonies?" "Mixed. The outer colonies are celebrating. They feel protected for the first time in decades, but the core worlds are worried. They think we've made humanity a target for every military power in the galaxy." Oh understood their concerns. For 200 years, Earth had survived by being small and unimportant. Now they had announced to the universe that humans possessed the ultimate weapon. Every alien civilization would need to decide how to respond to that news. Back in the council chamber, Chancellor Vexitar was calling for order. "Ambassador Kim, the council demands answers. How long has your species possessed this weapon? How many more do you have? What are your intentions?" Kim had prepared for these questions. "Honored Chancellor, humanity has always believed in peace. Through strength, we hoped never to use such a weapon. The Valerians forced our hand." "That does not answer the question," said High Arbiter Quindara of the Zeta Collective. Her mechanical voice showed no emotion. "How many planet-killer weapons does Earth possess?" Kim paused. This was the moment that would determine humanity's future relationship with the galaxy. Tell the truth, and risk revealing Earth's complete military capabilities. Lie and risk being caught in a deception that could destroy all trust. "1," Kim said finally. "Earth possesses one such weapon." Several representatives looked relieved, but Kim noticed that some of the older, more experienced aliens seemed skeptical. They had learned not to trust easy answers. "Ambassador," said Elder Tothron of the Hegemony Remnant, "our intelligence sources suggest that your species has been conducting massive construction projects in secret for over a century. Are you certain there is only one such weapon?" Kim met the alien's gaze steadily. I am certain that Earth currently has one operational planet-killer weapon. It was technically true, though misleading. The Ragnarok was indeed the only operational weapon. The other 3 ships in the program were still under construction, but Kim's careful wording made it sound like there would never be more than one. On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Lee Bo-young was learning just how quickly the political situation was changing. Her patrol fleet had been contacted by 7 different alien civilizations in the past hour, all wanting to establish better diplomatic relations with humanity. Captain, her communications officer reported, the Rigelian Trade Consortium wants to negotiate a new commerce agreement. They're offering to triple our current trade volume. The Altarian Commonwealth is requesting a military cooperation treaty, added the tactical officer. They want our help with their border disputes. And the Tau Ceti Federation is asking for a defense pact, finished the intelligence officer. They're afraid their neighbors might attack them. Bo-young shook her head in amazement. These same civilizations had ignored humanity for decades. Now they all wanted to be Earth's best friend. Sir, the communications officer continued, we're also getting surrender offers from 3 former Valerian client states. They want to switch sides before their former allies decide to punish them. The speed of the political change was incredible. In less than 24 hours, humanity had gone from being ignored to being courted by half the galaxy. Back in the council chamber, Ambassador Kim was facing more difficult questions. The Valerian hegemony was a stabilizing force in this sector, said Prime Minister Kolroth of the Serpentine Alliance. Their retreat has created a power vacuum. What does Earth intend to do about it? Kim had not expected this question, but he recognized the opportunity it presented. Earth has no territorial ambitions beyond protecting our existing colonies. However, we are committed to preventing future genocides. Meaning what, exactly? Chancellor Vextar asked. Meaning that if any civilization attempts to destroy entire populations of innocent beings, Earth will consider that a threat to galactic peace. The chamber fell silent. Kim had just announced that humanity was appointing itself as the galaxy's policeman. It was either the boldest diplomatic move in history, or the most foolish. You cannot be serious, Matriarch Sayla said. One weapon does not make you the guardians of the galaxy. Perhaps not, Kim agreed, but it does make us capable of stopping anyone who tries to commit mass murder. On Earth, Dr. Park Soo-jin was monitoring these conversations from her laboratory. As the creator of humanity's most terrible weapon, she felt responsible for every word being spoken in her name. Doctor, her assistant said, we're getting readings from the deep space monitoring stations. Multiple alien fleets are moving toward the borders of human space. Park felt a chill. Hostile movements? Unknown. Some might be invasion forces. Others could be diplomatic missions. The signature readings are too distant to tell. Park pulled up the tactical displays. Red dots showed the positions of alien fleets throughout the local sector. Many were moving, but their intentions were unclear. Humanity had changed the balance of power so suddenly that no one knew how to respond. Doctor, her assistant continued, Admiral Kang is requesting an update on the other Titan protocol ships. He wants to know how quickly they can be completed. Park stared at the construction reports. Ships 2 and 3 were 60% complete. Ship 4 was only 30% finished. Even working around the clock, it would take months to finish. Them? Tell the Admiral that we need at least 6 months for the next ship to be operational. Maybe 8? And if someone attacks us before then? Park looked at the display showing the Ragnarok's current position. One ship, carrying the hopes and fears of the entire human race. If something happened to it, humanity would be defenseless, again. Then we'd better hope our bluff works. In the council chamber, the debate was reaching a climax. Representative after representative had spoken, some supporting humanity's actions, others condemning them. Kim had answered every question as best he could, but he could feel the mood of the room shifting. A vote, declared Chancellor Vextar. The Council will vote on whether to censure Earth for its use of planet-killing weapons. Kim's heart sank. A censure would mean economic sanctions, diplomatic isolation, and possibly military action. It would undo everything Earth had accomplished. But as the votes began to be cast, something unexpected happened. Several civilizations that had been neutral suddenly voted against the censure. Others abstained rather than condemning humanity. When the final count was announced, the censure had failed by a single vote. "The council has spoken," Vextar said, though he didn't sound happy about it. "Earth will not be censured at this time. However, this body reserves the right to revisit this decision if humanity's actions prove threatening to galactic peace." Kim allowed himself a small smile. Earth had survived its first political test as a major power, but he knew this was only the beginning. As he left the council chamber, Kim was approached by a dozen alien representatives. Some wanted to establish new treaties. Others offered to share technology. A few made veiled threats about what might happen if Earth ever used its weapon again. The galaxy had changed. For 2 centuries, humanity had been the newcomers, barely tolerated by the established powers. Now they were a force that could not be ignored. The question was, would they use that power wisely? On his way back to Earth, Kim received a message from Admiral Kang. It was simple and direct. Phase 3 approved. Begin construction of additional vessels immediately. Kim stared at the message for a long time. He had told the council that Earth only had one planet killer weapon. Soon, that would no longer be true.